Freedom for me, but not for thee. So this is something that evangelicals practice without knowing it, and then they wonder why they're called hypocrites. If you don't know who I am, I'm Candy. I have been deconstructing from evangelical Christianity since 2012, and I'm a hypnotherapist now, and I work with the subconscious mind, but I work on my own all the time, and learning where these ideas come from and this programming comes from so that it can be reprogrammed. I have to notice it first. And something that I remember as an evangelical was the idea of people calling us hypocrites, right? When I was an evangelical, I would hear that. I never was personally called that, just because I, in a lot of ways, wasn't like your stereotypical evangelical, because I was open-minded a little bit. Now, I grew up in it, so it's not my fault I was an evangelical, period. If you grew up in it, it's not your fault, but it is your responsibility to figure out what you're believing in and then to deconstruct it, if you will, or, look at it closely, test it to see if it holds up to scrutiny. And that's all deconstruction is. So what I've noticed is that evangelicals want freedom for themselves, but they do not want it for everybody. Why don't they want it for everybody? I think maybe because they want to force people to believe like them in order to get that freedom. So here's a story of something that personally happened with me and someone else who was evangelical at the time. So somebody I know was in a relationship, tended to be in relationships with men who would cheat on her, period, every single time. She started to date this new guy who had 3 other women's babies. They had babies with him, and he wasn't with any of them, and he was trying to date her. And she was beginning to date him. And I said, you will be baby mom number 4, period. That's what's going to happen. And she denied it, and it ended up happening. Then she was adamant that he needed to stop cheating on her, even though he was doing it. And she wanted him to come over, both of them to come over to dinner with us at our house and have a conversation. And I'm a person I was in my deconstruction at this point. I was in it several years in, and I was about being honest. To me, I want you to be honest with who you are. I do not want you to pretend to be a person that is for the freedom of all if you're not. I want to know who you are so I can make a right judgment according to what I want in my life. If you are someone who is pro 47 and everything that 47 is doing, I don't want you in my circle. I don't hate you, but I definitely don't trust you to want the good for all. I think that, in my opinion, you want the good for what's good for you and those who look and act like you and believe like you, but not necessarily for all. And in this story, they come over to our house, and we get to the point in the conversation where I say, look, I look right at him. Are you interested in living in a monogamous relationship with her and not cheating, or are you going to continue to go to other women? And I said, I want honesty. And he was honest, and he said, I will continue to cheat. That's just what I'm going to do. But I do want to have a relationship with her. I just want to continue to cheat too. Or it wouldn't be cheating in his view, because he's being honest. He's just saying, this is what I want to do. And I turned to her and I said, okay, he's being completely honest. You get to choose now. Do you want this for yourself or do you not? And she blew up at me and said, you are giving him permission to, be unfaithful to me. And I said, I'm not giving him I don't have that kind of authority in his life. I am just asking him to be honest. He's honest. And I'm telling you, you get to make the choice. You have the power here to decide what comes in and out of your life. But she didn't want that. She wanted to control him. She wanted freedom for herself. Like, she liked the idea of freedom to live the life she wanted to live, but she didn't want him to have that freedom too. And that's exactly what evangelicals do, is they want to control what other people believe and do. So they will say, I've never had so much filtering on this app than after 47 supposedly resurrected it and brought it back, that after the 12 hours or whatever it was. I've never had so many comments that I've said taken down, and I don't say hateful stuff at all. I've never had so many things I've had to appeal than since, right? There's a lot more filtering going on of speech, and yet they're all about free speech. But they're not about free speech. So, they want to say you can't put your pronouns. You can't do the pronoun thing. But here's the thing. Before, when, a lot of the LGBTQ community was using their pronouns, and I have my pronouns on a lot of my platforms. Because it's just courtesy. And you didn't have to do it. You weren't going to get punished if you didn't. But yet with 47 and all of that's going on, it's like there's a punishment if you don't do what we want to do. We'll censor you. And there was no censoring before. It's just, even if you went up to a trans person and you used the wrong pronoun, most likely they're just going to correct you the first time. Then if you start to intentionally do it, they're not going to probably want to talk to you. But at first it's just, hey, this is my pronoun that I use, or my pronouns that I use. And it wasn't like there was no harsh consequence for it, other than that person may not want you in their circle. And that's the hypocrisy, is I want to be able to say what I want to say. This is how an evangelical does things. I want to be able to say anything I want to say, but you don't get to say what you want to say. It's my freedom. And then if you fall in line with what I think is freedom, then great. If you don't, then you should be harshly punished. And that is the difference.